Hello guys, this is your boy Wonder from Wonder IT Solutions. There are three types of web developers. One, we have the front-end web developer. Two, back-end web developer. And then lastly, you have the full-stack web developer. Now, a front-end web developer can design a site alright, but it will be called a static website. Now, a back-end web developer will need a front-end web developer's coding to be able to create or attach his or her coding to it for it to work. Now, this means that you, a back-end developer, can't design a website on your own without the help of a front-end web developer. But for a full-stack web developer, that means you can do both. You have a front-end and also a back-end web developer. So you can do all the coding yourself. Okay, so we're looking at two main things. That is front-end and the back-end web development. A person can choose to be either a front-end web developer, or a back-end web developer, or a full-stack web developer. But before you decide, there are some things you need to know. Now, let's look at them. Let's first look at the differences between front-end and back-end web development. Now, with front-end, okay, so front-end and the back-end are two most popular terms used in web development. Now, these terms are very crucial, but are quite different from each other. Each side needs to communicate and operate effectively with the other. Now, an example is a football match. Okay, now the players and the keeper must work effectively to give us a better result. If there is no keeper, players can still play the ball alright, but the match will concede more goals. But with the keeper, now the players and the keeper becomes complete, and the match becomes more interesting to watch. The same thing that we applied over here. So now, let's say our player is a front-end development, and the keeper is a back-end developer. Now, with the front-end developer, he is to set everything, or he is to create the website that interacts with the users. And then the back-end developer is to code or create everything that interacts with the server. Are you following? Okay. Now, with the front-end development, the part of a website that user interacts with directly, or can also be called the front or the client side. The client side. Now, it includes everything that users experience directly. It can be text, colors, it can be styles, images, graphs, tables, buttons, colors, and then even navigation menu. Now, to be a front-end developer, you must first learn some languages. You must first learn HTML, CSS, and then JS, that's JavaScript. Now, the design or structure, then the behavior and the content of everything seen on a browser screen or mobile apps are being done by the front-end developer. As a front-end web developer, now you must have two main objectives. That is how the site perform and then respond. Now, that is, it must appear correctly on all devices, no matter the size. Now, what are the languages a front-end web developer must know or study? One, you must look at HTML. Now, what it stands for is Hypertext Markup Language. Now, HTML is used to design the front-end portion of web pages using markup language. Now, HTML is the combination of hypertext and then markup language. Hypertext defines the link between the web pages. The markup language is used to define the text documentation within tag, which defines the structure of the web pages. Also, you must learn CSS, that is cascading style sheets. Now, they are referred to as CSS for short. Now, CSS is a simply designed language intended to simplify the process of making web pages presentable. CSS allows you to apply styles to web pages. More importantly, they enable you to do this independent of the HTML that makes up each web page. Then look at the JavaScript. That's the last language you must look at. Now, the JS is a famous scripting language used to create the magic on a site to make the site interactive for the user. It is used to enhance the functionality for websites to running cool games and web-based software. There are also frameworks and then libraries that helps to make these languages more easier, or the scripting more easier. Some frameworks or libraries are, you have the Angular JS, the React JS, the jQuery, the SAS, semantic UI, you have foundation, you have materialize, you have backbone.js, and a whole lot. With backend development, backend is a server side of the website. It stores and arranges data and also makes sure everything on the client side of the website works fine. It is a part of the website that you cannot see and interact with. It is a portion of software that does not come in direct contact with the users. The part and axis developed by back-end designers are indirectly accessed by users through a front-end application, like writing APIs, creating libraries, and working with system components without user interfaces, or even systems of scientific programming are also included in the backend. Now, as a backend web developer, what must you learn? What are the languages you have to learn? 1. You have to learn PHP. Now, PHP is a server-side scripting language designed specifically for web development. Since PHP code executed on a server side, it is called a server-side scripting language. 2. You must learn C++. Now, it's a general-purpose programming language and widely used nowadays for competitive programming. Then 3. You must learn Java. Now, Java is one of the most popular and widely used programming language and platform. It is highly scalable. They are easily available. Now, 4. You must learn Python. Python is a programming language that lets you work quickly and integrate systems more efficiently. And then also, 5. You must learn JavaScript. Now, with the JavaScript, it can be used at the front end and the back end development. That is, you, a front end or a back end developer, needs to learn JavaScript. Then look at the next one. That is Node.js. It's an open source and cross-platform runtime environment for executing JavaScript code outside of a browser. Now you must remember that Node.js is not a framework and it's not a programming language. Let me go again. Node.js is not a framework nor a programming language. Most of the times, people are confused and think it's a framework or a language, which it is not. Now, it's only used for building back-end services like APIs, like web app or mobile app. It is used in production by large companies such as PayPal, Uber, Netflix, Walmart, and a whole lot. You have the Ruby, REST, Go, etc. What are the back-end frameworks that we know? We have Express, Django, Rails, Laravel, Spring, and a whole lot. Now, let's look at the main difference between front-end and then back-end. Front-end and back-end development are quite different from each other, but still, they are two aspects of the same situation. The front-end is what users see and interact with, and the back-end is how everything works. The front-end is a part of the website users can see and interact with, such as the graphical user interface and the command line, including the design, the navigating menus, the text, images, videos, a whole lot. Now, back-end, on the contrary, is a part of the website users cannot see and then interact with. And the visual aspect of the website that can be seen and experienced by users are front-end. On the other hand, everything that happens on the background can be attributed to the back-end. We will be making a different video for the front-end web developer, and then also a different video for the back-end web developer, and then we will explain more into details.